everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies featuring the Star Wars Galactic Baking cookbook. After the puffered pig pocket pizza turned out to be really good last week, this week we're on to the entree, Falumpaset Cheese-Stuffed Sandwich. First up, let's tell a story. The Falumpaset is a valiant beast, famous for towing Gungan battle wagons during the Battle of Naboo. Their milk is also used to produce a delicious form of cheese, which you can stuff inside a loaf of bread, resulting in a sandwich that's perfect for taking on the go. Whether you're packing for a picnic by the lakes of Naboo or going on the run from the Trade Federation, this sandwich will always make for a wholesome meal. Well, we'll find out how it's going to do on that soon enough, because the ingredients are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. You're probably hearing the oven chirping in the background during the intro and now. I've got the oven preheating to 350, but we'll come back to that. For this recipe, we're going to need nonstick cooking spray, all-purpose flour, a 16-ounce loaf of frozen white bread dough, thawed according to the package directions, which it should be now, half a cup of butter at room temperature, a third of a cup of prepared mustard, quarter cup of dried minced onion, 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds, 8 ounces of sliced deli ham, 8 ounces of grated Swiss cheese, there's the oven coming up to 350, a large egg beaten with a tablespoon of water as an egg wash, and 2 tablespoons of grated, finely, probably a little bit more finely than this, but grated Parmesan cheese. Now, I'm going to mention something right up front before we get anywhere near the taste test. I am not the biggest fan of Swiss cheese in the world, so that might color what I think of this recipe, but I just want to make sure that's clear right up front. Anyway, let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. The first official step of the recipe is to preheat the oven to 350 and line a large rimmed baking sheet with parchment paper and coat with nonstick spray. Set aside. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out how to line a baking sheet with parchment paper and coat it with cooking spray, so we're not going to do that on camera. We are going to move to the next step, though, where we've got a work surface that we're going to flour up here. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. Maybe a little bit more flour, and then we'll give it some more coverage. Okay. Just trying to spread the flour out a little bit so I make sure I've got enough coverage. Okay, that should do. All right, the flour can go back up at this point. And now we're going to take our bread dough, put it on the floured work surface. If I can get it off the plate that I had it thawing on. There we are. Then we're going to roll that into about a 12 by 16 inch rectangle. I've got my rolling pin here, which I'm going to start off not using it at this point. We'll try to flatten it out manually. Actually, now I am going to need the rolling pin. I mean, a little bit of a weird angle, but I don't think there's anything we can do about that at this point. It is not wanting to cooperate with me. It's very sticky. Come on. Oh, good grief. Yeah. Alright, well, I think we're going to have to just try to flatten it out. And just spread it out like this. It's not going to be pretty, but I think it'll work. Alright, let's grab the rolling pin again, see if it works a little better on the floured side, and oh yeah. Seems like it's working a lot better now that we got some flour down. There we go. Alright, let me see if I can roll it. It's a little bit weird. Actually, I'm going to pull this out of the way. I was trying to get the rolling pin down on that side, and being able to roll it and at all is not an easy thing to do. Let's see. I think I need to roll it. I'm not going to grab a measuring tape and measure it quite that heavily. Let me see if I can pull this somewhat back together. I'm going to turn the knife block. Okay, I think that should work for our purposes. So it's probably not quite the dimensions we want, but it'll work. So now we're going to let that sit for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer for that. Actually, they say 10 to 15, so I'm going to say we're going to split the distance and split the difference and say 12:30. Oop, not cook timer, kitchen timer. All right, just clear that. 12:38, fine, whatever. Anyway, we'll come back to that, but we're going to move over to another part of the counter for the next shot. While we're waiting for the dough to set, we're going to combine the next 4 ingredients to make the filling. So we're going to take our butter. If I can ever get this, okay, it looks like it's opened the long way. Butter, the mustard, which I've got right here, they probably want you to use regular mustard. I'm using Dijon because it's what I grabbed at the grocery store. Grab a spatula for this. Oop. Ideally without jarring the camera, but sometimes jarring the camera is a thing I can't avoid doing. We also want the dried onion, which is 1/4 cup. Which I've got the minced onion right here. Right, that can get ready to go back up. And the 2 tablespoons of the poppy seeds. All right. All of that can go back up, which I'm going to deal with off camera. And we'll mix this all up until thoroughly mixed. Okay. All right, so now that we've got all of that sorted out, now we're waiting for the dough to finish setting. So we're going to come back when the timer on the microwave goes off. I did spread out the bread dough a little bit more, just so I had a little bit of a better rectangle on there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the butter filling and a 4-inch strip down the center of the dough, coming down toward the camera, and I'm going to leave a 2-inch border on the top and the bottom. So we're going to start on that, as he proceeds to make a mess of what the intended border should have been. It doesn't need to be Picasso quality, it just needs to be there. I can probably even go a little bit wider with it, which I think I'm going to have to do. I have a feeling this is going to be more butter filling than anything, but I can definitely take some liberties with the amount of the filling, amount of the actual main ingredients I put in. That should be plenty, so I think that's where I'm going to cut that off. I'll put the rest of this in the garbage. And then the butter filling stuff can go in the dishes. Okay. Alright, so now we want to cut a... Okay, now we want to layer the slices of ham on top with the cheese. So we got a little bit of some of the poppy seeds on my hands. Okay, that's going to move back there. So so I have room to put the ham down. Okay. Probably needed to make this a little bit bigger than I did, but we'll find out if it's going to be a big problem. I don't think so. Ham keeps falling apart on me a little bit, but not too terribly bad. Okay. And we'll bring the cheese in. Okay. Like I said, admittedly not the biggest fan of Swiss in the world, so that may color what I think of this recipe. Now, they want you to get cute and fold this over with a braid style. But I don't think I have enough bread here to make the braid, so I'm just going to see if I can fold it over in a somewhat normal way. And of course, I don't. But we can probably make something resembling dough anyway. We do at least have a place for steam to escape. But now we need the baking sheet that we prepared earlier in shot. I'm going to dip my hands into the dishwater real quick. Alright, going to grab the baking sheet, which I am going to need to respray real quick. Okay. Then we're going to bring that onto the baking sheet that I'm keeping off shot. And we'll brush that with the egg mixture and the Parmesan. So I'll move the camera over here just slightly so you guys can see what it looks like. Yes, I know it looks like a little bit of a jumbled mess, but I think we can work with it. So we'll grab the brush and the egg mixture. Okay. Then we'll just drizzle the rest on the inside, which also may color the taste quality there. And then we'll sprinkle it with the Parmesan. I think we used this. We probably used this last week with the Puffer Pig Pocket Pizza. Date is still plenty good on that. Okay. That can hit the dishwater as well. And now that we've done that, we're going to bake this for 30 to 45 minutes or until golden brown. So I'll put that in the oven. And we'll set the timer for 45 minutes. There's also an option of you can cover it with foil during the last 10 minutes if you have to prevent over browning. So we're gonna let that sit in the oven for the 45 minutes. But rather than sit idle ourselves, before I catch up on some dishes, I got a delivery in yesterday. So what say we adjourn to the game room so we can go ahead and unbox that real quick. I got this delivery in yesterday from Sideline Strategy Games. As many of you know, I'm working on a baseball season replay of the 1991 season using payoff pitch baseball. So this should be 2 more seasons for payoff pitch. But let's crack this open and see what we've got in here. All right, trying to make sure I get under the boxes here nice and neat. Or get under the seams here. Thankfully not an excessive tape job, and then we can run right down the middle here. Okay, cool. We'll be greeted by some air pop pouches. And the first thing we're greeted by in here, I can never make it cooperate, is the 1979 season for payoff pitch baseball, which is what I was expecting to be in here. And then the other season we're greeted by, and was expected, is the 1972 season for payoff pitch baseball. So those will need to get sorted and added into my collection, but that's that small product unboxing done. So now we'll come back to the recipe when the timer goes off in... Actually, yeah, we're going to come back when that goes off. When the timer goes off. Here's our first look at the finished product. It looks like pouring the egg wash in the way I did at the end kind of helped everything seal off there, so that was very helpful. Anyway, we're going to let this cool for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to cut a piece off, and I'll meet you guys over at my desk for the taste test. I've got some of the sandwich over here that's already been cut up. I wanted to try to serve it warm. So let's give this a taste and see what I think of it. Again, some of the ingredients I'm a little bit iffy on, but we'll find out how it all came together. All in all, still a bit warm, still a bit on the bready side. That's what you were probably seeing earlier in the taste test. It's actually not too bad. I mean, it's good enough that I'm going to use it. I don't feel the need to do a garbage dump with this recipe, but It's probably not something I'm going to be clamoring to make again, in all honesty. Like I said, not the biggest fan of Swiss cheese in the world. Also not a huge fan of mustard, so I don't think that really helped it either. But that is another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week we'll be into the dessert, finishing up the Star Wars Galactic Baking cookbook with the dessert, Tatooine Sandies. As for the games, tomorrow the Waking investigators are facing their third scenario in the spring campaign for Arkham Horror, the card game, as they venture past the point of no return. Wednesday, we're doing a play-along on Cartographers. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.
Thank you.